Okay, let's talk about ideas. We all have them, right? Those little sparks of inspiration that pop into your head and feel like they could be something really big. But how do you actually get from that thought to, something real? Well, today we're going to break down one of the most important first steps in that whole journey.
So picture this. You've got it, that brilliant idea, the one you just know could be the next big thing. Maybe it's a revolutionary new app, a smarter kind of toaster, or a service that could change everything. It's exciting, but right now it's just kind of stuck in your head.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you get past just telling people about your idea? How do you show them? And even more importantly, how do you prove to yourself, to potential users, to partners, that this thing actually works, that it has legs? Well, here's the good news. You absolutely do not have to build the whole entire thing just to find out. There's an incredibly powerful and honestly, a surprisingly simple tool that innovators use for this exact problem. It's called the prototype. So, what in the world is a prototype, really? Let's peel back the layers and figure out what that word actually means. Now, look closely at this definition. Notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say a perfect, fully functional final version. The two key words here are representation and communicate. A prototype is all about showing an idea to other people to get a conversation started. It's not about perfection at all. Okay, so if it's all about communication, why is that such a big deal? Let's dive into the real why behind making a prototype in the first place. And this right here really breaks it down perfectly. A prototype lets you communicate your vision in a way that words just can't. It makes your idea tangible, something people can actually see or touch and react to. And that's how you get that priceless feedback from real users. But the best part? It lets you learn, and I mean learn fast and cheaply, long before you've sunk a ton of time and money into building the final product. Now, here's something you've got to remember. The word prototype doesn't just mean one single thing. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. It's actually a whole spectrum of possibilities. See, prototypes exist on this scale of detail and functionality. Designers have a word for it. They call it fidelity. It can be anything from a super simple sketch that just tests one tiny part of your idea, all the way to a high-fidelity final prototype that looks and feels almost exactly like the real thing. This comparison really lays it all out. On one end of the spectrum, you've got your low-resolution prototype. It's simple, it's fast to make, its entire purpose is to learn and test your biggest, most fundamental ideas. It's all about asking a big question. Then, way over on the other end, you've got your final prototype. This one's detailed, it's functional, its goal is to test the usability and the overall feel. It's there to provide detailed answers. Okay, that's the theory. But what does this stuff actually look like in the real world? Let's get into some actual concrete examples. Honestly, one of the easiest and most powerful ways to start is with paper prototyping. I'm not kidding. You can literally just draw the screens for your new app on pieces of paper. Then you have someone tap on the buttons, and you just swap out the pages. It costs basically nothing, and it can give you huge insights into whether your idea even makes sense to another person. For physical products, you can just use cardboard. A famous example is the first Palm Pilot. The founder, Jeff Hawkins, he carved a block of wood into the shape and size he imagined, and he carried it around in his pocket for weeks. He'd pull it out in meetings and pretend to check his calendar on it. Why? He wasn't testing the technology. He was testing one single giant question. Does a computer this size even feel right in your pocket? That simple block of wood answered that billion-dollar question before they wrote a single line of code. And of course, in the digital world, a prototype can be a really simple, clickable layout of a website or an app. There might be no real code behind it, but it lets people click from screen to screen so you can test if the navigation feels natural and if the whole experience makes sense. So, look, it can be a block of wood, a digital layout, or you can even role-play an experience with a customer. The most important thing is this. The type of prototype you make should match the question you're trying to answer. Are you testing the physical feel of something? Make a physical model. Are you testing the flow of an app? Make a digital layout. Seriously, don't get hung up on the tools. Never, ever underestimate the power of a quick sketch on a napkin. All right, so with all that in mind, let's bring this all back home. Let's talk about you, your idea, and how you can make your very first prototype. If you remember just one thing from all this, please let it be this quote. A prototype isn't the final exam. It's not supposed to be flawless. Think of it as the ultimate conversation starter. It's a conversation with your users, with your team, and honestly, with your idea itself.
So just let go of that pressure for it to be perfect. That is not the point. The goal of your very first prototype is so simple. It's just to learn something important that you didn't know before you started.
And that really brings us to the final most important thought. The best prototypes are always designed to answer a very specific question. So as you look at that brilliant idea of yours, don't ask, how can I build this whole thing? Instead, I want you to ask yourself this. What is the single most important question that my first prototype needs to ask?